Okay, here we go. This is Garrett, Tears to Joy Ministries.org. This video is called David and Goliath. Check out these truths. David's just a young man. And his dad gives him some cheese and meat and a couple of other things to bring to the officers in King Saul's military. David arrives and he starts claiming that he wants to battle Goliath. So King Saul basically laughs at him, but to make a long story short, King Saul offers to give David his armor and his weapon, but the armor doesn't fit and it's too heavy. David goes down to get some rocks for his sling. He comes back and challenges Goliath. Now Goliath is over 9 feet tall, and if you read the story in the Old English, Goliath actually has the 666 on him, which is quite amazing, and very few people know this. Now, let's look at some truth here. Number one, everybody in the Israeli Jewish army is afraid. That means there are tens and tens of thousands of demons of fear and demons of anxiety attacking the Jewish soldiers. So that's one thing that's very interesting. And the Philistines are ready to trample them and kill them and destroy them. Goliath comes out and makes a challenge, and David accepts the challenge. Now, David's not afraid. Now, you would be afraid, and I would be afraid. We have to understand something. Goliath is over 9 feet tall. That means from shoulder to shoulder, he could have been as much as 4, 5, or 6 feet wide. The width of his body could have been 4, 5, 6 feet wide. And David's not afraid. Do you know why? Because Jesus is strengthening him. That's a supernatural miracle. It's not David doing it. It's God and his son Jesus doing it. And Jesus is guarding David from the demon of fear that's in the Jewish camp. He's guarding David from the demon of anxiety. And not only that, but Jesus probably also put some holy angels with David, maybe some kind of angel of boldness, or an angel of courage, or an angel of motivation, or an angel of determination, or maybe all of them were with David. That's most likely what Jesus did there. It's very interesting. And David runs out with his sling, and he sees Goliath, and he sees Goliath's armor, and he sees Goliath's shield and Goliath's sword. Or, I'm sorry, I had a little mental blank. I'm not sure. I think it was a sword. I'm not quite sure about that. So please forgive me on that one. And check this out. Goliath starts laughing at him. And David starts to swing his sling around. Now, when Goliath sees David to start to swing his sling. By the way, thank you for being patient with me. I'm talking a little funny. Most of you know I've been to the dentist, and I'll be talking a little bit strange for the next 3 or 4 months until I get my teeth fixed, so thank you. Okay, Goliath sees David swinging the sling around. All Goliath had to do was put up his shield. That's all Goliath had to do, and David was a dead man. In other words, people, listen. When David's about to throw the rock, all Goliath had to do was to start running at David with his shield up. And if he does that, David is dead, the Jewish army is destroyed, and King Saul is dead, and there's no Jewish nation. And there's no more prophets, and there's no more prophecies, and there's no more psalms, and there's no King Solomon, and there's no temple, and there's no Jesus. There's no Jesus being born. All Goliath had to do was to run at David with his shield in front of his head and his chest. It was so simple, a baby could have done it. I could have done it. But Goliath didn't do that. Do you know why? Because Jesus didn't let him. That's right. Either Jesus used angels or demons to make sure Goliath keeps his shield down. Goliath's shield had to be down so David's rock could hit him in the forehead. Do you understand how Jesus was dictating the entire fight step by step down to the microscopic level? Are you understanding that? It is so interesting. So, David is swinging his sling around. Goliath never raises his shield. Goliath never starts to run at David as fast as he can, maybe zigzagging to make it hard for David to hit him in the head. David lets the rock fly, and it hits Goliath perfectly in the forehead. Now, many people think that David did that, but you're wrong. David did not do that. Jesus did that. You better believe it. Jesus is the one who guided the rock. Jesus is the one who steered the rock right to the forehead. Did Jesus use an angel or a demon to steer the rock? Quite possibly. But Jesus still did it. All glory goes to God and his Son. So Jesus steers the rock right at Goliath's forehead, and it hits him right in the head and knocks him down. And David runs over to Goliath and grabs his sword and cuts off Goliath's head. Now, when David is running to Goliath, all the Philistines had to do was to order their archers to fire at David, and David's a dead man. And if David's a dead man, the Philistines now destroy the Israeli army, the Jewish army. King Saul is dead. There's no Psalms, no Proverbs, no King Solomon, no temple being built, and there's no Jesus. But not a single archer is shooting at David and hitting him with an arrow. Now David stands over Goliath, and he cuts off his head. None of the archers are firing at David, and why? Why not? Because Jesus stopped it. That's why. Because Jesus dominates his creation down to the microscopic level, down to the molecular level, and no one can do anything about it. David cuts off Goliath's head, and the Philistines run away. Well, why did they run away? I'm not going to run away just because you cut off someone's head. I'm going to run at you and kill you real quick. That's what I'm going to do. But the Philistines ran away. And why? Because all of those demons attacking the Jewish nation, attacking the Jewish soldiers, the demons of fear, the demons of anxiety, the demons of hopelessness, now Jesus most likely orders them to all attack the Philistines. So, the Philistines all of the sudden are attacked by tens and tens and tens of thousands of demons of fear, demons of anxiety, demons of panic, demons of confusion, and now they're running away. I wanted to do this video to give you a glimpse behind the scenes of what most likely happened between David and Goliath. And Jesus was right there planning the entire event, orchestrating the entire event, and using his power step by step, microscopically speaking, to make every little tiny thing happen just the way he had planned. That's right. This was all planned out before the universe was ever created. So I don't give really much glory to David at all. David didn't do anything. God and his son Jesus controlling the holy angels, controlling the demonic evil spirits, planned and orchestrated and did the entire thing, and it's a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece, and God and His Son Jesus are controlling your life the exact same way. So you can relax now. Whether you are going through good things or bad, happy or sad, wonderful things or terrible things, you can relax now because it's all planned and orchestrated and controlled by God, and you have nothing to worry about, child of God. Praise God. I hope you enjoyed this video. Praise God.